Well, isn't it fitting? On the day that Jordan Romano pitches 2 innings to close out the win for the Toronto Blue Jays, there's reports of the Baltimore Orioles looking to acquire Jordan Romano in a trade. Ooh, there's a lot to get into with this one.
You are Locked On Blue Jays, your daily Toronto Blue Jays podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to Locked On Blue Jays. Thank you for making Locked On Blue Jays your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Today's episode is brought to you by Prize Picks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB and use code all lowercase LockedOnMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. Just before we get into everything, I'm Braden Wasco. He's Carter First. You can follow us on Twitter, Braden5Wasco, Carter First 2, as well on Instagram and TikTok at Locked On Blue Jays. We post a ton of content on sort of everything as well. And we're going to Toronto this upcoming weekend. May 17th to the 20th, the Tampa Bay Rays series. It's going to be a blast. It's country night on Friday, and Saturday, I guess afternoon-ish, we are going live on YouTube. It should be across all of our podcast platforms, so wherever you listen, the episode should just be live. You should be able to go and click on it. And yeah, it's going to be a blast. We're going to have some beers. We're going to, hopefully we'll get a bunch of you guys in there, and we'll just talk some Blue Jays, our likes, our dislikes, our hatred. Either way, we're going to discuss it all. We got Jarvis Iwasco, my brother, and Justin Powers, our roommate, coming on the cast with us as they like to show up on the lives as well to discuss some Toronto Blue Jays. And we'll be at the game. So if you guys see us, come down, say hi, talk some Blue Jays with us. We'll love it. We're going to be doing a bunch of content out there. It's just going to be a fun weekend. We're going to get as much sort of content as possible and just sort of put it out there. But I can't put this off any longer. Some crazy news today coming out of the Orioles. The Baltimore Orioles are eyeing the trade market for closers. As, of course, Kimbrel has not been great with them this season. He's already blown 3 saves and allowed 7 earned runs over 15 and a third innings. And one of the big targets for the Orioles team is closer for the Toronto Blue Jays, Jordan Romano, the man who shut the door on them yesterday. It was a very, very solid performance from him. But Carter, just your thoughts. Is there any in this possible universe, any way that Jordan Romano, you could ever see him going to the Baltimore Orioles?
No, that's what Jordan Romano was doing today. He was just driving that stock up, getting a little bit more from those Baltimore Orioles. Going to rob them blind for Jordan Romano. If we trade Jordan Romano to the Baltimore Orioles, you might as well just sign away the World Series. Just give it to him, hand delivered on a platter. I am very against trading some of your best players, especially within the division. Like, you trade Jordan Romano to the Baltimore Orioles, and you're going to have to see this guy probably 13 times a year. Maybe not even that, because Jordan Romano is going to be the closer. The Baltimore Orioles do have a very bright future. The Toronto Blue Jays, not as much. So maybe those games would be out of hand. But if we get to the point where we have to trade Jordan Romano, this season is an absolute wash. And it probably wouldn't only be Jordan Romano going on the wayside. But yeah, Craig Kimbrel for the Orioles, for a team that is so good. They really don't have any shortcomings other than Craig Kimbrel, Jesus. And then their closer with Felix Bautista being out, that's really hurting them. So again, you would get Jordan Romano, or the other ones where I think were Ryan Helsley and Ryan Presley.
Ryan Helsley, Jordan Romano, and Ryan Presley. Yeah, those are the 3.
Yeah, so I mean, good closers in those 2 as well. I think Ryan Presley is the one that's struggling a little bit this year with Ryan Helsley. Looks unbelievable. So a big trade market, obviously. It's very early on still. I know we're now a quarter of the way into the season, but like I said, Jordan Romano should not be leaving this team. If Jordan Romano is leaving, the Blue Jays are probably having a fire sale, and we're going to be thinking about the Toronto Blue Jays team a lot differently than we are right now.
Yeah, and sort of the interesting part of this is that it is so early within this season. Like, in what universe, to me, do we see the Toronto Blue Jays pulling the trigger this early? And I'm guessing that the Orioles would want to make a deal sooner rather than later. I don't think they would want to wait till the trade deadline. They want to probably earn as many wins as possible to, outpace the Yankees for the top spot in the AL East. So the question is of those 3 guys, who's the most realistic? And it has to be Ryan Helsley. It has to be.
Yeah, that would probably make the most sense here. I mean, the Astros have such a good team. It's like, I know they're playing horrible baseball this year, but I don't think they want to blow it up necessarily either. And then you look at the Cardinals and Helsley, like the Cardinals got nothing going for them. And Helsley
Nothing.
has the most saves right now in the NL, maybe even in the entire league. So that would make the most sense. The Cardinals probably going to blow it up at the deadline. They don't have any pitching. Still have some okay players on that team. Paul Goldschmidt, actually this year, I don't think he's playing that good. Normally, he's very good. Nolan Arenado, a ton of players over there. They're usually pretty good offensively, but with the pitching. So if they blew it up even farther and gave away Helsley, I don't even know who they'd be throwing anymore. For a team that's not scoring runs either this season, I mean, it's definitely looking like they're going to be selling at the deadline. As for the Orioles needing to win games right now, I think they're going to be fine. Like they don't need to win games right now. Yes, I agree. For the Yankees, it's going to be close coming down the stretch, but you have so much time. The Orioles are way deeper than the New York Yankees are. I know at the start of the season, I think me and you both had the Yankees winning the division. If I could change my bet right now, I probably would. Just looking at how the Baltimore Orioles are playing, just watching today at how deep their order is, like just going over their lineup. I was comparing it to the Toronto Blue Jays. Like they have a ton of guys with a ton of RBIs, very high OPSs. Like Colton Cowser is a rookie that's in their system. Gunnar Henderson, Ryan Mountcastle, Ryan O'Hearn is playing unbelievable so far this season. Adley Rutschman, obviously, today. Jordan Westberg, another rookie, is hitting 304. Like, they're so deep. It's absolutely insane. So if they have to kind of soak pitching out Craig Kimbrel now in the 7th inning and having one of their middle relievers pitching a little bit later into games, I think it's not really going to be that big of a problem.
No, and I guess the question honestly is let's say that this trade is somewhat of a possibility, okay? That Jordan Romano is going to leave the Toronto Blue Jays. What you would need a boatload in return. What are the Orioles even going to be okay giving up? The Toronto Blue Jays are probably looking for a piece. I'm guessing would look for a piece that would fit in right now. And what is that piece that the Orioles would give up that would fit in right now? I don't think that's the way this would go. It would have to be a bunch of prospects. And to me, that just doesn't sell tickets right now, especially giving up a guy that people go to the ballpark to see in Jordan Romano.
Yeah, like I said, if Jordan Romano were to be traded, for one, if you're trading him to the Baltimore Orioles, you better get a boatload. You better make them overpay for this guy. But saying that, if you're trading Jordan Romano, I don't think they want an MLB ready talent. I think they're completely blowing it up. This is like a 3-4 year rebuild type of thing. So it would be a massive decision for this management. And obviously, if they decide to do that, Ross Atkins is probably gone. I could see John Schneider maybe being gone. That's a little bit more hazy for me. But the upper management, the GM, everyone is going to be blown up. It's going to be a completely new team. And at that point, you got to think about trying to trade away maybe Bo Bichette, maybe Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Yusei Kikuchi being in his last year, one of the best left-handed arms in baseball right now. Probably get a boatload for him too. Danny Jansen is unbelievable, but he's never healthy. So that's a discussion we'll get into another day. But in my overall opinion here, if you're trading Jordan Romano away, this season has gone completely wrong, and we are looking rough for the future of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. That was the point I was going to bring up, was that if you're trading Jordan Romano, you're trading everybody else. So get the ship ready and ship these guys away, which obviously I don't want to happen. I don't know if my heart can take a 3 to 4 year rebuild right now. I think I need to see some type of success from this group before I even consider a possibility of a rebuild.
I mean, saying that, looking at AAA though, Spencer Horwitz is raking, or Elvis Martinez is raking.
Yes,
it would be kind of fun in a sense to see some of these younger guys play, but I feel like that might get old really quick when we're not winning games and these young guys are starting to struggle a little bit with MLB pitching. But in theory, it would be a fun idea, but I'm definitely not ready to blow up this team either.
The thought is, you look at what Addison Barger did, rakes in AAA, comes up and struggles. And if that's the entire team the entire year, it's not going to be fun to watch this Blue Jays team. And I think, honestly, Rogers doesn't want that to happen because they know that they're the only Canadian market, a big fan base, and the fan base wants to watch good baseball. And at the end of the day, that's what people pay to get the tickets for, is to come watch good baseball. It's an interesting conversation, but at the end of the day, this isn't going to happen. The Blue Jays aren't going to trade Jordan Romano. This article was a little bit crazy to me in the sense that in what universe do we trade Jordan Romano? Jordan Romano might be one of the last pieces that I trade. I think you look at a Bo Bichette or a Vlad Guerrero, if you're really tempted to blow it up, those are the first two guys you look to trade away, not Jordan Romano.
Yeah, I think the only reason that Romano was in this conversation is that they were looking at teams that were struggling very early on, with the Astros being, 10 games under 500 at this point. The Cardinals, just a poverty franchise right now. And the Blue Jays, the fact that they're in the conversation with these teams is kind of crazy. I can't say that it's necessarily wrong because of how the Blue Jays season has started, but Blue Jays fans, I hope. So, I think it's pretty 50-50, actually. I know a lot of people are saying the season's done, blow it up. I don't want to watch this baseball team anymore. And I can't really fault people necessarily for having that opinion. But a lot of people are saying, let's ride it out. It is early. Again, we only are 25% of the way into the season. And you look at today's game, it was pretty solid. You beat Corbin Burns, one of the best pitchers in the AL. The Baltimore Orioles, obviously, in my opinion, being the best team in the AL. So maybe this is a little bit of a turnover here. We said that as well on the Saturday game of the Minnesota Twins, but the Orioles are a lot better than the Twins. So I'm pretty happy after this game. And I think we got some things to break down.
Yeah, we're going to take a quick break here. We're going to get into next segment, which we're going to talk about today's game or yesterday's game. It was very, very interesting. I think just the whole perspective of the game, the runs necessarily don't show the final result, the feeling that it gave fans. So we're going to get into all of that coming up.
So like I said, we are about a quarter of the way through the MLB season. And I know I've watched pretty much every Blue Jays game to this point. And when me and you watch, Braden, I always find myself predicting on what the next outcome is going to be. And lately it's just been Vladdy's going to do damage because he's looked unbelievable at the plate. But PrizePicks gives me the opportunity to not just prove myself to you, but it allows myself to make some money on my predictions as well. So don't miss your chance to add your favorite players from the diamond in your PrizePicks entries. When it's strikeouts, RBIs, or first inning runs, take your pick of more than or less than and add them to your PrizePicks entry today. PrizePicks is very simple to play. I can make my picks and submit my entry in as little as 60 seconds. You guys still have the opportunity to take advantage of the Caitlin Clark more than 0.5 points. Pretty much a gimme from PrizePicks. Already so far, 418,000 people have taken the free line. A ton of people are on it, so you might as well hop on for the ride as well. If you know which players are going to perform on specific nights, this is a no-brainer. Download PrizePicks and start making your picks today. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit matchup to $100. That's code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit matchup to $100.
So, as we said, the Blue Jays got a huge win yesterday in the 3-2 extra inning battle against the Baltimore Orioles. Now, Carter, I got to go over one thing because what an absolute performance from Jose Berrios. Once again, 7 innings pitched, 3 hits given up, 2 runs, 4 strikeouts, 1 walk, 2 home runs, both to the same guy. So Jose Berrios has continued to do exactly what we need him to do. And honestly, I mean, it sucks. You got to fault him for the home runs, but Adley Rutschman has been killing Jose Berrios, Carter. Do you have some stats to break down from Jose Berrios and Adley Rutschman?
I do, but it's from before today's game, so I got to quickly do some mental math here. Not being a math guy, this might be a little bit tough, so you got to hold on with me here. So after today, Adley Rutschman is up to 12 hits and 18 at-bats. So being a math guy, I got to calculate this quick. That's a 666 average against Jose Berrios in his career. The first pitcher in his career to have 3 home runs against. I mean, he's just killing Jose Berrios, clearly. Like, this is just, Jose Berrios can't beat this guy. 2 home run day. But the thing is, you can give up solo shots. They're not really going to hurt you. And he did give up 2 of them. And in typical Toronto Blue Jays starting pitcher fashion, he goes 7 innings pitched, gives up 2 earned runs, and doesn't even get the win. Just, again, I'd hate to be a starting pitcher on this team. Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, you know what? It's so funny. I mean, you look. Well, actually, I want to go back for a second. I want to look at the game's hits because Carter. When I first turned on the game, it was about 3 innings in. I missed about the first 3 innings just because I was at work. I was trying to watch and work, and that might be a little bit frowned upon, but whatever. And so I throw the game on, and I'm thinking, wow, this game is sort of, again, are we not hitting the baseball? What's going on? But then I look at the Blue Jays, and I mean, the team had 8 hits, and I said that's how you win games, getting up to that 7, 8, 9, 10 hit mark. It's when you're less than that games just can't go your way. With this amount of hits, I was pretty okay to see in a low-scoring game against a good starting pitcher in in Corbin Burns. So at the end of the day, Carter, a little bit of a shocking win. I think this is one of those games that the stats sort of lie to you.
Man, I feel like you always say there's a shocking win when the Blue Jays just actually beat a good pitcher, because the problem with the Toronto Blue Jays is I'd be okay with Corbin Burns kind of, again, I don't want this to happen, but it would make sense if Corbin Burns had an outstanding day. My problem lies when we lose to Patrick Corbin, the worst pitcher in all of baseball. If you're losing to good pitchers, it's going to happen. They're good pitchers for a reason. They're some of the best pitchers in the league for a reason. Sometimes you just get beat by a good pitcher. But today, the Blue Jays show some fight, and one guy I want to get into. I said it on the podcast before about the Twin series. I didn't want to say the B word yet about him. Still not going to say it, but Bo Bichette. What a day from this guy. Vintage Bo Bichette at-bats. He had, on his third at-bat, there was a curveball from Corbin Burns. Bo Bichette looks like he's beat on the pitch, but he has such good bat-to-ball skills, he just launches it into left field. And that's what we need to see more of Bo Bichette. It's not necessarily the most pleasing from his swings. Bo Bichette does take some crazy swings, but he's so good with his bat-to-ball, his hand-eye
coordination. There we go.
To get there, but we got there. He's so good at that he can hit pitches that aren't necessarily in the strike zone. His swings look terrible, but he's still making good contact with the ball. So Bo Bichette, 3 for 4 today, and he had a line out in his last at bat as well. I actually thought off the bat it was gone, partly because of cameramen. They just love any fly ball. They just feel like it's going 500 feet into the ocean. But great day from Bo Bichette, and Vladdy continues his tear as well. 1 for 2, 2 walks. I'm going to say the B word for Vladdy because you don't walk a guy intentionally if he's not on fire. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is back.
Yeah, I agree. He's putting up great days in the past little bit here, and it's just better. You can see the at-bats being better, and that's the big thing. And I think today we saw that a little bit from Bo Bichette. So will he be able to carry that forward? That is the big question. And we always say you can't say anything about a guy until he starts doing it consistently. And Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has been doing it now consistently for a little while, so we can start to have that faith in him. I'm okay saying that he's back because he's actually, it's not a game here and a game here. It's a little bit more consistent. And you know what? Just overall with Bo Bichette, it's so much more fun to watch Blue Jays baseball when Bo Bichette is on. It is insane. I was watching today's game. I'm fired up watching Bo Bichette take crazy swings because he can, when he's on, he's doing great things with those crazy swings. And that's what's awesome. So at the end of the day, this game was, it was entertaining. It was fun. That's what I want to take away from today's game. It was a fun watch. It was a battle. We said, who comes up in those big moments? Those are the fun games that we like to watch. I think before the season started, we had this conversation about entertaining down to the line baseball games that you don't necessarily want all the time, but it is so much more fun to watch. I was on the edge of my seat all night watching this game. And I mean, honestly, just a great day from the boys. The only guy that, I think shockingly surprised me with how he did today was Davis Schneider, who went 0 for 5. Just looked like he was a little bit off today. But I think he's one of those guys that can bounce back pretty easily.
Well, I mean, I would assume that this is his first time going against Corbin Burns. And as we said before, Corbin Burns is one of the best pitchers in the league. So I'm not really taking too much away from Davis Schneider and his at-bats. But I'm going to say this with the most love I can. I think the sickness that's going around in the Toronto Blue Jays dugout is actually helping the Toronto Blue Jays. Justin Turner hasn't been great recently. George Springer, nothing can keep him out of the lineup other than a sickness, apparently. So again, I'm not going to hate if it impacts him for one more game at least. Davis Schneider gets to continue to be at that leadoff spot. But with Davis Schneider, like I said, I'm not really reading into that too much. But a guy I want to get into as well is Daulton Varsho, because what a day from this guy. Obviously launches a ball into the right field stands. And this guy doesn't just hit home runs, he robs home runs as well. Ryan O'Hearn drives the ball dead center, and Varsho says, no thanks, that's not happening on my watch, and he takes it right back into the yard. How do you feel about Daulton Varsho's day today?
Honestly, it was fantastic. The whole, you know what? The driving and runs is great. The at-bats are great, but it's the defensive plays, the crazy defensive plays that he makes are why I love watching Daulton Varsho. Yes, he's great when he's hitting the baseball hard and doing all that stuff, but when he robs a home run or he makes a diving catch, as a kid, those were the most fun plays to make. You're out in the backyard with your friends and you rob a home run from a guy at your backyard fence or something. Those are the plays that everybody dreams of, right? As a kid, you dream of robbing those home runs. So when I watch that, it is just so electric. And at that point, Jose Berrios just gave up a home run, almost gives up back-to-back home runs. And Daulton Varsho says, no, thank you. Come again. See you later. It was excellent. It was perfect. I remember Christian was just walking in the studio and he goes, oh no. And then I go, oh no. And then Daulton Varsho, you can just see him. He's taking the right path. And I'm like, I literally looked at Christian and I said, he's got this. Boom. Snags are there. He's got it. Oh, electric play, Carter. I couldn't stop talking about it at work today.
Oh, and there's multiple great plays from him as well. Obviously, that home run is a big swing there. That ball as well, stealing that home run. And then this guy comes up in the top of the 10th inning and hits a hard ground ball. Again, great play by Jorge Mateo, but drives in the run. And that's the game-winning run of the ball game. So pretty much did everything you got to ask for from Daulton Varsho. I don't know if this is my Jays bias. I don't really think it is. I can get some stats on this, and I'm sure he will back it up. This guy is easily the best defensive player in the league.
Yeah, if he gets robbed of a Gold Glove this year, I'm going to be shocked. He is playing excellent defense. He just doesn't make mistakes. Every line he takes, every decision he makes is the right one in the field. And that's why he's such an exciting player to watch. Because you pretty much know if he's got a chance to get it, he's going to get it. It has to be hit perfectly or else Daulton Varsho is going to run it down. It's fantastic to watch, Carter.
Yeah, one negative, not a lot of negatives for me today, which is surprising about the Toronto Blue Jays. But one guy, again, it's getting tough to watch with this guy hitting with runners on base is Alejandro Kirk. 0 for 4 today. It just seems like a double play merchant coming up. It hurt my head a little bit seeing Daniel Vogelbach hit. And then right after Alejandro Kirk, it's like we're just like, if the ball's in play, like there's just no way we're getting to first base unless it's hitting the wall. Like it's a tough scenes over there. Alejandro Kirk obviously going 0 for 4 today with strikeout. And this is a guy that I've said I'm going to talk about a lot on the podcast. Haven't really gotten the chance to, so I'm going to take the opportunity now. Is Daniel Vogelbach. He went 1 for 3 today, had a hit, RBI. I can't remember what inning it was, but it was the first run of the game. This guy is getting a ton of hate from Blue Jays fans. Again, is it warranted? A little bit, you could say, just based off his stats. He has 34 at-bats, only 4 hits. Not great with an average of 118. But he has 34 at-bats. Like, he has less at-bats than the Toronto Blue Jays have games played. So you're going to get mad at anybody on this offense. It's definitely not Daniel Vogelbach. And the argument is, yeah, I guess he's taking up a roster spot. But even if you bring up a guy like Spencer Horwitz, there's already not a lot of at-bats to go around. So you're just going to let Spencer Horwitz kind of rot on the bench like Daniel Vogelbach is doing right now. I don't really get the argument on why people hate Daniel Vogelbach so much. For a guy that's been proven to be a morale guy, gets the dugout hyped up, definitely helping out his teammates. He's always talking baseball, as you can see, when people are having tough moments, great moments, whatever it is. I just don't understand the hate for Daniel Vogelbach.
Yeah, I see it. I understand it completely. And I'm not fully on your side or some of the fans' side either. The hate, I get it. He's not doing well when he's at the plate. The at-bats look bad. They just look bad. And because he's got such a throw everything at the baseball type of swing, that when he misses, it just doesn't look good.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I feel like his at-bats always look bad when he misses just due to his swing.
Yes, and it is. But in the same respect, yes, it is tough for a guy that is that fill-in spot hitter that's going to come in for an at-bat here and there. It's tough. We said we can't keep pulling Davis Schneider into the lineup. He can't get a routine. And so I think we have to treat Vogelbach somewhat the same way, just in the sense of if he's not getting consistent at-bats, he's not going to play as good. And in this situation, this brings up another guy to my head that hopefully eventually in this season, maybe we get to see. Maybe if this team starts to pick it up, maybe he's a guy that can add something. And I don't know, he might be on the moon right now, but that's Joey Votto. And in this scenario, maybe he's a guy that can do this role a little bit better. Unproven. We don't know that. But I think if he comes back, this might be a situation where it's Joey Votto over Daniel Vogelbach just for the star power because he's done it before.
Yeah. Oh, I forget about Joey Votto because literally, where is this guy? Like you hear about like, oh, he's making progress. He doesn't want to be back till he's fully healthy. Like, what kind of bat did this guy step on here? Like, this is ridiculous. Like, he's been out for like a month and a half, and you have heard like absolutely nothing about it. So that was my biggest argument is that if say it's not Daniel Vogelbach, who's going to do this role well? Like, you don't want to throw in a young guy to just rot on the bench, like I said. But You bring up Joey Votto. That does make sense. A guy that wasn't getting a ton of at-bats last year anyway. Probably a guy, I mean, it can't get much worse than Daniel Vogelbach. I'll be the first one to admit his at-bats have not been great. My stance on this was just like, who else do you want to do this role? Nobody. It's going to be very tough to be successful in a role where you're pretty much hitting once a week. But with Joey Votto, I think there is higher upside. So that you kind of talked me off the ledge a little bit there. I think that makes a lot more sense. That's probably the move that they would go to when Joey Votto is healthy in 4 years.
Yeah, that's the problem, right? Is when or if we'll see him. That's the big question. But in that situation, yeah, I think Joey Votto is the play. I don't know. I might try to do some digging over the next few days and try to get an answer from somebody if anybody's heard from Joey Votto or anybody. I don't know. Like I've seen quotes in a couple of, he's all over Twitter. Weirdly, he just tweets like randomly. He'll tweet like 9 times in one day and then he'll just drop off the face of the earth again. So I don't know what's going on with this guy. We are going to preview the next game, Carter. It is a little bit interesting. I think this goes back to what I said of that the Blue Jays are going to take 2 of 3. I had this, not necessarily saying that I'm like the goat of picking games, but I might be at this point. But we'll see. We're going to get into that next. We're just going to take a quick break here.
And I do head out.
Damn it.
I don't think you remember that time.
I forgot.
Just before we do head out, we got to head over to the Locked On 24/7 streaming channel, either Locked On Sports Today or Amazon Fire TV channel app. Whether it's WNBA, whether it's NBA, NHL playoffs. I know we're big Canucks fans. We've been hammering that. NFL free agency, whatever it is. Perfect opportunity to check out expert analysis. So we're going to get into game 2 of the Baltimore Orioles and Toronto Blue Jays series with also some other news coming up.
Today's episode is brought to you by Policy Genius. Policy Genius is the country's leading online insurance marketplace. It saves you time and money so you can provide your family with a financial safety net starting today. With Policy Genius, you can find life insurance policies that start at just $292 per year for $1 million of coverage. Some options offer same-day approval and avoid unnecessary medical exams. I actually just got my retirement stuff in for work, so I can start putting money in towards that. So this might be an option that I start to look at. I think it's never a bad time to look at, especially, if it's your fat. What are you laughing at, Carter?
Just retiring at 23. You got some big aspirations.
No, but you have to put away for retirement. No, anyway, if you want to put away
on that aspect.
Yeah, come on. So life insurance isn't out of the question to start thinking about. I think everybody has to. And so Policy News helps you compare your options from top companies, and their team of licensed experts is on hand to help talk you through it. Your work-life policy may not offer enough protection for your family's needs. Even worse, it may not come with you if you leave your job, which is definitely worrying. If I work in radio, it's a very volatile industry. Policy Genius gives you unbiased advice from licensed expert support team. They have no incentive to recommend one insurer over another, so you can trust their guidance. Thousands of 5-stars review on Google and Trustpilot from customers who found the best fit for their needs. Check life insurance off your to-do list with no time with Policy Genius. Head to policygenius.com/lockedonmlb or click the link in the description to get your free life insurance quotes and see how much you could save. That's policygenius.com/lockedonmlb.
All right, so we don't know where Joey Votto is, but we do know where some of these other injured Blue Jays are. So Danny Jansen was unable to play in this game because he was experiencing back spasms, according to John Schneider. He's getting treatment, and he said that he was hoping that he could be available today. Obviously didn't need him. Hopefully Danny Jansen can recover from this, as he is a little bit injury prone. I don't think he's had back spasms before. I could be wrong. I don't remember him having back spasms, so another new injury for Danny Jansen. And this lineup had to be the way it was today because we literally had nobody else available. Danny Jansen was out, and then Springer, Justin Turner, and Kevin Kiermaier were all sick and unable to start. So if you were mad about Daniel Vogelbach playing, it would have been John Schneider playing if it wasn't Vogelbach. So, I mean, there wasn't really a lot of options there. But for some injury updates, Yariel Rodriguez and Chad Green threw bullpens in Toronto, and they both felt good. Rodriguez will throw another side bullpen with the Blue Jays, while the Blue Jays are working through the next steps on Chad Green. And another guy I haven't really heard about recently, it's nice to get some news on him, is Bowden Francis. He's scheduled to make a rehab start for the Buffalo the day that this podcast is released. So he's supposed to pitch around 2 innings, but really the pitches is the main thing. He's going to pitch from 40 to 45 pitches. So it looks like we got a little bit of reinforcements on the way for this bullpen, which is much needed for a bullpen that is a little bit depleted and struggling so far this season.
Yeah. One thing, Carter, that I messed up on saying was I think I said earlier in this episode that I had a win-win-loss for our predictions, and I actually had a win-loss-win. So that sort of takes all my credibility out of that sentence. But talking about this coming game, Carter, it's Kyle Bradish versus Chris Bassett. Chris Bassett's ERA so far this season is a 5.06, while Kyle Bradish is at a 1.93. Granted, Bradish has only played 9 and 2/3 innings, so take that with a grain of salt. But he is a very good pitcher, and this is going to be a tough one for the Blue Jays. But in saying that, yesterday was supposed to be a tough game for the Blue Jays, and they were able to pull that one out. So we'll see if the bats can stay hot and the boys can drive in some more runs. Carter, looking forward to today's game. How are you feeling about it?
Yeah, I mean, Kyle Bradish, I know there's a small sample size this season, but a massive sample size last season. This guy was probably the best starting pitcher on the Baltimore Orioles last season. Definitely not a guy to scoff at, but like you said, I think Corbin Burns is better than Kyle Bradish, and we did get a win from Corbin Burns. We did get a win against Corbin Burns, but the biggest thing in this game is going to be, can Chris Bassett keep up with Kyle Bradish? I think the Blue Jays offense is going to have trouble scoring again. So Chris Bassett might be on a 2 to 3 run leash here, which is tough to say, but that's just the reality we live in with this Toronto Blue Jays offense. I feel like Chris Bassett overall has been a pretty good pitcher for the Toronto Blue Jays. Just when he hasn't had his stuff, he's gotten absolutely rocked. And it's tough when you're topping out like 94. If you don't have your stuff, it's kind of like batting practice for a good lineup, especially in the Baltimore Orioles. So it's going to be interesting. I just want this game to be close with the starting pitching. If we can get to the Orioles bullpen, how the Blue Jays bullpen pitched yesterday, I think we're going to have a pretty good chance in this game as well.
Yeah, and talking about the Blue Jays bullpen going into this game, they should be a little bit rested. We pitched Jimmy Garcia and Jordan Romano. Obviously, I think Jordan Romano is going to be unavailable tomorrow after pitching 2 innings. But overall, we saved a lot of arms in the pen. Didn't have to use a lot of guys. So hopefully, guys took that extra day as a little bit of rest and can get the job done for when we have to eventually get Bassett out of there. Hopefully, it's a good day, and hopefully, we can go 7 and only give up like 1 run and whatever. But that's a little bit unrealistic against this pretty good offense in the Baltimore Orioles. Carter, you know what? I am just so ready to go to Toronto. It's coming up quickly. I'm just trying to make it through this week. It was a good day at work, and it just made me even more excited because I'm like, okay, this week sort of, it's moving already. We got a ton to do before that. We have to get everything ready to go so that we can, of course, do the live stream on Saturday, sort of after the game. It's going to be a fun time. Grab a beer, join us for an hour, whatever we end up doing for the live stream. And if you guys see us at the ballpark, like we said, come say hi. It's, we just want to meet people. Other Blue Jays fans. It's going to be awesome. And Carter, I know I have to throw it to the Locked On 24/7 streaming channel. So I'll do that right here so I don't forget.
Yeah, just quickly go over the Locked On streaming channel one more time. Either Locked On Sports Today or the Amazon Fire TV channel app, whatever is more convenient for you. Expert analysis on pretty much any sport you can imagine. Why not take advantage of it? But I am excited to go to Toronto as well. The Blue Jays look like, I want to say, they're playing better baseball. Starting pitching has been good, and I'm excited for the slate we have. It's going to be unbelievable. Kevin Gausman, Alek Manoah, Jose Berrios. Are you kidding me? That's just, honestly, I couldn't ask for a better matchup. We just need the bats to actually show up. Because if we get swept, I don't even really want to put it out there. But if it happens, I might not return from Toronto. That might just be it. I might just never appear again. Carter's
going to find the quickest way down the CN Tower is what it would be.
Jesus, that's a little crazy from you. But we're definitely not going to be checking out the CN Tower anymore. We'll probably just stick out the Rogers Center. But I'm excited. I haven't been to the Rogers Center before either. So that's with the new renovation, stuff like that. I know there's a lot of cool stuff over there. The Corona Lounge. They got that Schneider's hot dog. That's going to be interesting as well. Unfortunately, we didn't go on a Tuesday, so we get the Looney Dogs. Because, I mean, you already know that we would have hammered like a million Looney Dogs.
Oh, we would have done the 9-9 challenge. We would have done the 9-9 challenge for sure.
It would have been absolutely disgusting, but probably would have been pretty fun to watch. I just want to say thank you guys for watching. All the support recently has been amazing from you guys. Like I always say, my favorite part of this podcast is engaging in the debates, whether it's about positive stuff or negative stuff. Hopefully, we're starting to turn a page to get over to the positive stuff because there has been a lot of negative so far with the Toronto Blue Jays. But when you look at it from the big picture, we just beat one of the best teams in the league. And we're only 3 games below 500. It feels like we're 15 games below 500, but we're still sort of in the mix here. It is only 25% of the way through the season, so a lot of baseball being left to play. David Schneider, other than today, looked good. Vladdy's looking better. Hopefully, Bo Bichette can turn the leaf. Danny Jansen, if he comes back. Daulton Varsho. There's a lot of positives on this team. The bullpen can get back to where it was, and the starting pitching continues to be how it is. I think we could start turning it around a little bit here for Toronto Blue Jays.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so too, Carter, especially since, we're headed there. That would be a very disappointing. But guys, I got to give you guys a big thank you as well. We hit 1,300 subscribers here on YouTube, and honestly, you guys have blown my mind. I think we put what we thought we'd be at by like opening day or at the end of the year or something, and you guys have blown us out of the water. We were so shocked. But we hope you guys are really enjoying all the content. We try our best to put together some of the best stuff for you guys. We try to do our research, make sure we have everything, up to date, and try to stay on top of all the news and try to get some, earlier information or what we think. And I think we've actually beaten some of the other people before to get some information. So it's been good. Hopefully that can continue. And we'll just keep putting out the best we can for you guys. Appreciate it. And we'll talk to you guys tomorrow.